Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining Send It ATV podcast, and we are just so happy to have you. Today, I am so excited to talk to this individual because he's actually in my neck of the woods, and I am very excited about everything that's being done there. And so he's the president of the Mount Moosilauke ATV Club. And without further ado, I want to introduce Mr. Andy Grignon. How are you, sir?
Good, Shane. How about yourself?
Good, sir. Thank you so much for agreeing to meet with me today. And I look forward to sharing everything that you have to say about all that you're doing.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate the offer, and very interested to see what you're doing, how your podcast is going, and love to support your cause. I love what you're doing. So,
Right. Awesome. I just really want to be able to help the community. I mean, I just had several conversations today about how fast it's growing right now because of the pandemic. No matter how you look at it, people are looking for something to do. And I just want to be able to do it in a sustainable way that it doesn't end up hurting us in the long run because of people not knowing what they're doing. Um, so to get started, what was one of your first ATV experiences?
I grew up. I'm a two-wheel guy at heart. I got my first dirt bike when I was 4 years old, and it probably wasn't up until 8, 9 years ago, I think like 2013, I bought my first ATV actually. I grew up in the South Shore of Mass, riding dirt bikes my whole life, and got the opportunity to relocate up to New Hampshire. As soon as I did that, knowing I was moving up, I went out and bought my first ATV, which was a 2000 Yamaha Blaster.
Oh,
Um, and I'm a 250-pound guy, so watching me ride around on a little Yamaha Blaster was interesting. But it gave me the bug, and the rest is history, basically.
right. And yeah, definitely. It's an easy bug to be bitten by for sure.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Nope.
so what's one of the funniest stories you've either seen or witnessed out there in the community or whatever that still makes you laugh today?
I think from my personal experience was 2 or 3 years ago, a very close friend of mine and myself decided to do a little trek across Maine. We had never ridden over there before. So we basically set out with very limited knowledge and ended up doing just shy of 700 miles in 4 days across the entire state of Maine. We started in Ellsworth and made it up to Holton and back, and zigzagged all over it. We didn't have a map. We had no idea what we were doing, where we were going, what we were in store for. And the entire trip was an awesome journey, full of laughs, surprises. Just we set out, no idea where we were going, and just following the compass going north. And to think that, we pulled off what we pulled off. We had some awesome experiences. A lot of people said we were crazy for doing it, but it's awesome memories. And we had an awesome time. It was a once in a lifetime experience, but I hope to do that again many more times.
That's cool. That is really cool. Just going out there and exploring all on your own and figuring it out.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, definitely.
That's cool. Um, what's how long have you been part of the Mount Moosilauke ATV Club?
So, like you said, back in like 2013, I had a good friend of mine who was one of the founding fathers of the club. His name's Vern Brigham. And knowing that I was moving up, like I said, we moved up here in early 2014. So, in the end of 13, I went and bought my first four-wheeler. I think I had an application in like the week before we even moved up here. It was all kind of new to me, but I was really excited, moving up to a town. We have a local ATV club. We have legal places to ride, something we don't really see a whole lot back down in Mass. So I was super excited, and I jumped right in. So I joined, just as a regular member in 2014. And being that, my good friend was the president, I started attending meetings. I started helping out. I was doing signs. I was trail work,
Mhm.
I jumped right in with both feet. In 2015, we had an opening of for the vacancy of vice president. So not really knowing what I was getting myself into. It's the clubs need a lot of help. There's not enough volunteers.
Mhm.
And it was basically one of those things. Hey, if anybody wants to take it, speak up. So I said, how hard could it be? So I volunteered, and in 2015, I got brought on as vice president. Um, I had 2 years basically under Vern's wing, so to speak,
Mhm.
where, I learned the ins and outs of the clubs, how it operates, and start to understand a lot more about, the trail system up here, Nova, how we operate with the state, etc. And in 2017, he stepped down as president, and I got voted in and have been acting president since.
Wow, that's great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Of sorts.
Yeah.
It's a blessing and a
It's
curse.
it's a roller coaster ride for sure, but it has its benefits, and
Yeah.
we really got to work hard to keep what we have. So people have to step up to the plate, and that's exactly what I did. And I don't regret it. At times, it's definitely trying, especially as of lately, but it's also very rewarding. So I enjoy it. It's something I'm very passionate about. So.
Yeah. Let's kind of let me dig into that a little bit. The trying times of, as we mentioned earlier, with a pandemic and uh, more and more people doing it. What are some of your concerns um, over the next season that might be worried about or you want people to be looking out for?
So obviously, like you mentioned, we saw a huge influx of new riders.
Mhm.
A lot of people canceled their vacations. They wanted something to do, and they went and bought boats and jet skis and ATVs and side by sides and bicycles and you name it. Recreational sports, all over the map, exploded this year, and a lot of people were looking for something to do, tired of being cooped up. So we resorted to, getting outside and doing fun activities. So we saw a huge increase of new riders, from within the state, out of state, all of New England. I've met plenty of great people from all over that, come and ride up here. Um, and one of the biggest problems that I think we saw, and one of our concerns, is educating the public, getting the word out there about the clubs, what we do, how we maintain the trail systems, why we have trail systems. And one of the biggest facts is educating them on trail etiquette and respecting our landowners, and the ins and outs of how the sport operates and what we need to do to keep it going and to keep it to survive, basically.
Right.
We're always one phone call away or one landowner away from losing a section of trail that may absolutely devastate our trail system. If we lost one of our major connectors, that was our only way in and out to get to a handful of other trails, that can literally, I mean, a landowner could pick up a phone and say, I want to close it, I'm done, and we lose our trails. It's literally as fast as I just said that is how it can happen.
Mhm.
um, so yeah, our biggest concern is getting the word out there, educating new riders on trail etiquette, and respecting the land and the landowners that allow us to do this. A lot of people don't understand this is all private land for the most part. There's a couple 100 miles. We've got some rail trails, and we have Jericho State Park, which is funded with ATV money, um, and those are all state owned.
Mhm.
Jericho is funded with ATV money. The rail trails are not, but that's state
Right.
property. And other than that, 90% of what we're riding is private land. We're riding through somebody's backyard, and they're allowing us, giving us that privilege of riding. So a lot of people have a misconception of how that works up here, and that's what we want to really emphasize on is following all the rules and regulations that are out there. They're for everybody's safety, yours, mine, the landowners, and just really respecting the land and again, it's a privilege, so we don't want to lose that right.
You mentioned etiquette. Etiquette is a huge thing. So many people, especially new people, absolutely do not have any idea what they're. So maybe run down some of the ideas of like proper trail etiquette might be.
So my idea of trail etiquette is obviously, up here I personally take a lot of pride in our club signage. So in the state of New Hampshire, basically all approved ATV trails are supposed to be marked with a designated sign, and that's basically a green and white arrow with an ATV or a dirt bike on it. So one of our biggest things is staying on the marked trails. All of our trails are marked. If it's not posted, if it doesn't say anything, that doesn't mean that you can't do it. Just because there's not a sign that says, no trespassing doesn't mean it's good. We have to stick on our marked trails. So that's a huge thing, is off trail riding. A lot of landowners get upset about that real quick. Posted speed limits. Some are better marked than others, but we have the OHRV Digest, which is basically a little magazine that's available at a bunch of local convenience stores, pretty much anywhere you register your machine up here. They're free. It's a great tool. There's tons of information out there. So it's speed limits. There's areas that are marked 10 miles an hour, low dust, for a reason. You're driving right by somebody's back porch or somebody's front driveway, or in the summer it gets dusty out there. So having respect for your neighbors and the landowners and keeping your dust down when you're riding by somebody's front yard, go 5-10 miles an hour. Be respectful, nice and slow. And then, you get out on the trail, you can speed up, of course, following the posted speed limits. But even if it says 20 miles an hour and you're driving by somebody, walking their dog or out mowing their lawn, just be courteous.
Yeah.
A lot of us, I consider that common sense, but a lot of people, some people don't care. Some people just don't even think about it or know. Staying on your side of the trail. We have trails all over the states. I've been in plenty of sections where it's tight, and you always need to ride as if somebody's going to be coming around the corner at any point in time. So, basically being aware and riding in control, I consider, those are some big points of trail etiquette.
Right.
And then of course, littering and stuff, respecting the land, bring out what you bring in, try to leave as little impact, if none at all, as possible. And you see some trash on the side of the trail or the side of the road or in the parking lot or something, does it kill you to throw a couple cups or something in the back of your truck and clean it up? If we all did that, it'd make our lives a lot easier.
Because sometimes people see trash as like, well, why does someone else throw that away? Why should I pick it up? It's like, well, it may have blown out and they just didn't know.
Yep.
And so really just help out and just take 2 seconds and just pick it up and take it with you. And like you said, just throw it away.
Yeah.
Because that goes a long ways, especially with, landowners. And I could just personally see, I love to have my windows open in the summertime. But if ATVs are going by and it's dusty out and it's always making my house all dusty on the inside, that would just drive me crazy. So,
Oh yeah. And they may not notice that trash there. A lot of the stuff that we do goes unnoticed, but again, it's just picking it up before somebody sees it. Could have been an accident, could have been deliberately, but if we all help out and do it together, and show each other etiquette, the landowners respect and stuff, we're on a much better path to success.
right. Because you guys really do have an amazing privilege up there. Me being in Massachusetts, I don't have anywhere local. I have to go to New Hampshire to ride. And, it's gorgeous up there and the trail systems are phenomenal. And, being able to literally leave out your back door and drive across the state following trails, as long as you follow the right trail systems and such, it's amazing, if we can just keep them open. And if, like you said, if one connector trail cuts it off, it really destroys the whole system.
Yep. And it doesn't take much. Like I said, you got to figure the amount of traffic. I've talked to neighbors around our trail system. And on any given weekend, there could be 100 machines, whether it's the same person 5 times or 90 different people. You could see 100 machines go by their yard.
Mhm.
And yeah, a handful of them, 1 out of every 10 is speeding and kicking up dust and stuff. It's you got to think there's a lot of people out there. This is a privilege that we have, so we really
Right.
have to try to hold on to it, because this is amazing. We don't, I grew up in Mass. We didn't have this down there.
Yeah.
And that was a big point of, me moving up here. I was super excited about it. So having this privilege, I want to keep it as long as I possibly can, which is why I'm getting involved, and doing my part as much as possible, because, I want to keep this going for generations. My son's 8. He rides with me,
Mhm.
and I really hope that in time, these trails are still going to be around for when he gets older or when he has kids.
Right. Absolutely. And the only way to do that is by respecting the rules as they stand and understanding the
Yeah.
why they're there. And, um, so with that being said, how can people get connected with different clubs, and what's the best way for them to get connected with you?
So for us personally, right now, a big way of communication for us is social media, our Facebook page. Most people have it. It's a great way to communicate with people. We can
Yes.
share photos and videos and everything. And, so the Mount Moosilauke ATV Club on Facebook. And then we also have our website, which is the club name abbreviated. It's www.mmATVC.org. Both of those are great resources. They have contact information for myself as well as all the other board members, phone numbers, emails. So that's a great way to get a hold of us and see what's new, what's going on with the club, what the current trail system statuses are. And then, there was a state organization started called NOVA, which is for the New Hampshire Off-Highway Vehicle Association.
Hmm.
And they are basically a collective group that was formed. It's an organization that was formed with all of the clubs throughout the entire state of New Hampshire, as a voice for us. And they are a great resource as well. They have a list of every single club in the state of New Hampshire with their contact information. And they helped us implement the online, membership program for all the clubs. So
Hmm.
you can go to www.nova.org, and that's NHOHVA.org. And that will show you basically with a map of all the ATV clubs throughout the state of New Hampshire. And, you can join any single one of them, as many of them as you want to, literally in the click of a button. So that's some great resources to get a hold of us.
Right. Awesome. Yeah, because it's a small membership to get involved. Just at least to help that little bit of money. Really doesn't go that far, but for a great privilege and for you to pay into it. But where I think people, and correct me if I'm wrong, where people can really help out is at least giving at least one weekend, a year or a season to help out would go a long ways.
Oh, definitely. It's we're severely understaffed and don't get paid nearly enough. All of our clubs were all volunteers, so
Mhm.
we do this out of the goodness of our heart, the love of the
Mhm.
sport. So we dedicate hours and hours and hours of cleaning brush, opening trails, bringing in material. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it that people don't see, a lot that goes on behind the scenes. The Tooth Fairy didn't build that bridge. A bunch of volunteers did. We
Right.
all got together and we pooled in and we collected our resources and tools, and we all went out there and did it ourselves. Um, so yeah, by the memberships help fund the clubs. When we do a project on a trail and we bring in 10 loads of material and we rent a machine, and we add a culvert or two, there's $20,000 that just goes in a weekend.
Hmm.
And when you have some of these clubs, I mean, we have 40 or so miles, but still 40 miles is a lot to cover. And the money goes quick on projects, renting excavators and bulldozers and equipment. That's not cheap. The price of material, gravel. Every time you drive down the trail and you see that little bit of dust that's kicking up, that's dirt from the trail that's
Blown
becoming
away.
dust and blowing away. So over years, it erodes, and we get down to the rocky, rooty, nasty, muddy, ruddy stuff. So maintaining the trails, it does take a lot of money. So for us, I mean, our memberships for singles and families are $25. The sport's expensive enough as it is. I mean, I see people out there in $30,000 side by sides and stuff.
Yeah.
So $25, that money goes straight to the club. It helps us keep the trails open and do maintenance that keeps the landowners happy. And that's how we survive, without the
Mhm.
memberships and donations of both money and time. We wouldn't have these trails. And there's 4 or 5 of us that do everything all the
Right.
time.
Right.
And once in a while we get a newcomer that comes and helps out. And it's very refreshing to see somebody else come out and help us. And as simple as if everybody riding made one attempt one day to go out and help a club of your choice, a local club, your favorite club, whatever, a club
Mhm.
that you think needs help and improvement, go lend a hand for a day cutting some brush, or helping build a bridge or put up signage and stuff.
Right.
I take pride in it. It's a sense of accomplishment. You help build that trail, you help put those signs up, you're involved, and you help give back to the sport. So
Right.
definitely we encourage volunteers and we need them desperately.
I want to challenge everybody out there. If you're riding on a trail system, even though it's may not even be in your backyard, don't even, you know, contribute to the club just for the sake of getting the sticker or whatever. Just you ride on those trails, contribute the money. It's a small price to pay. People spend more going to amusement parks with their family, let alone, I mean, just spend a little bit of money to help
Yep.
everybody out. And goes a long ways.
Oh, most certainly.
So, well, we're really actually running out of time here, but I have one last question. It's actually more of a personal question. So let's say hypothetically, I have a four-wheeler and I want to take my children and they want to ride on the four-wheeler with me. Is that legal in New Hampshire?
So yes, operating on a machine with your child is legal. If you want to have them ride, basically under the age of 12, there's anybody, your child at 4 years old could ride their own machine, as long as it's within the CC requirement. They're wearing a helmet, they've got safety glasses, the proper gear. So anybody up until the age of 12 can ride as long as they are on the proper sized machine. Over the age of 12 or under the age of obtaining a driver's license, you need to have a safety certificate. And again, there's certain things such as a rear facing mirror, a helmet, eye protection, etc., that are required in order to operate those. But as far as bringing your children up and riding on your ATV with them, most certainly, as long as you guys have the proper, gear on,
Yep.
that's more than legal. Yep.
Yeah, especially in some areas, they're real sticklers about the goggles. You take them off for a split second and you roll 2 feet, they got you.
Yep. Oh yeah. No,
And,
definitely. So.
well, awesome. Andy, thank you very much for your time. And I appreciate all that you are doing. I know how much work you put in to really provide an awesome trail system. Guys, if you're listening to this, watching this video, and you want to go check out an awesome place to ride, you need to get to Mount Moosilauke, because just the images from the area are awesome, but the trails themselves that I've seen myself are just phenomenal.
Yeah.
So,
We've
uh,
got a little bit of everything for everybody. So come check it
yep,
out.
absolutely. Thank you.